social problems of all countries comes from this kind of what is called arajaka. That is lack of discipline, lack of rule, lack of governance. Our philosophy gives a very comprehensive, totally consistent model of life goals that there is no need for confusion. There is no need for any kind of identity crisis or authority crisis. It says that you have 4 objectives. And what we normally do, we go by the young person goes by instincts and temptations and vulnerabilities. For example, in those cases where the youth fail to optimize his or her potential, the youth may go for karma or enjoyment, where there are lots of temptations and vulnerabilities of various kinds. That becomes ineffective number 1 objective. It's not cognitively number 1. The second is that a little later the person goes for mindless accumulation of wealth. There's not time to use it. There's no energy to use it. At the end of it, we have various kinds of lifestyle diseases. Therefore, our food is very sparse, and our consumption is less, and all that money is accumulated. Our philosophy clearly gives a hierarchy. The first and most important objective in life is dharma. And in any scripture, any book or any story, you will hear these 4 objectives. Always listed only in this order: dharma, dharma, moksha. So dharma has to be the foundation, an ethical foundation to life. Such a person has a solid grounding in life and is more likely to resist the external temptations as well as conquer the internal vulnerabilities. Our philosophy is not it is not correct. Some of the Western propaganda or Indians rejecting life themselves is not correct. Our philosophy fully accepts wealth as a very legitimate objective. Udyoga Purusha Lakshana. The Purusha does not mean man. He is not against gender justice. It's a convenient word. It's a human being, a personality. A person, the quality of a human being is to be industrious, not to be lazy, not to be idle, not to waste time. What that field of industry is your choice, your birth, your environment. But there are lots of ways in which we can be industrious. So accumulation of wealth is very important, but there are 2 implications of dharma being the foundation. Be ethical in earning and be ethical in how you spend. So dharma has to pervade the other 3 objectives as well. So various ways in which people earn incorrectly, inappropriate corruption, shortcuts. In fact, there was another heading in this morning's newspapers that now it says, I was very surprised to read this in Canada, again, understand this in India. Younger generation wants to earn, succeed with the least effort possible, is a headline for one of the papers. That is not ethical earning. You must do an honest day's work, a bad day's work, contribute, and you must have feeling in your conscience that what I am getting is more than what I deserve. It is the employer's dharma. In his conscience, he should feel that I am giving less than what I deserve. Then the compensation is right. So, ethical earning and also spending it right, not on alcohol and various other damaging things to life. So how do you spend it? And that should include some amount of dharma. Just like CSR, corporate social responsibility, I am propagating in India the concept of PSR, personal social responsibility. Of course, many of you already do it here, known by the term volunteering, internship, work, this evening's dance performance. Anjali is an example of this, collecting money for deserving sick people. And with that level, our philosophy also says you must enjoy life. Life is for enjoyment. It's perfectly alright. At various stages of life, there are different kinds of things that a human being should enjoy. That is why these ashramas are there, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So the maximum enjoyment is during the Grahastha ashrama of life. Brahmacharya is a preparation. Vanaprastha is already having fully enjoyed, satiated, one will gradually move away from it. All that it says that the enjoyment should be wholesome. It should be of the right kind. Wholesome that begins, for example, our dharma has many parts. The first dharma we owe is to our body. That the body does not belong to you if you are a young person. You are a trustee of your body, and it's for all of us. The body has been given to you to be held in trust for society, for organization, for a family, and only finally for yourself. And you have no right to abuse this body, damage this body. You have to be a good operations and maintenance engineer, looking after this body, keeping it in good shape, well lubricated, efficient, without breakdowns. So it says wholesome enjoyment. And the Gita has a phrase, dharma aviruddha kama. Those desires which are not against dharma can be enjoyed, perfectly legitimate. Sex, for example, marriage is not all right, but philandering outside may appear fashionable and so on, but psychological studies show that all those who engage in extramarital relations suffer serious psychological stress, and it reflects sometime or the other in some organ failure in the body. It may affect the heart, the liver, the pancreas, somewhere or the other. The conscience is very much there. Even if at an activity level we may suppress the conscience, God is resident, truth is resident in the conscience. It will bother. Also, it should be non-injurious. My enjoyment should not cause pain to somebody else. So I should also engage in that kind of pleasure, which does not take away, which does not reduce somebody else's pleasure, which includes parents, teachers, and so on. But the ultimate objective of life, the highest level of objective, is that if you earn and spend well, and if you enjoy, and gradually you realize that yes, I've done all this, is this what life is all about? Is there something more to it? Then you come to the pinnacle, the fourth and final objective, which is moksha, transcendence. That is the personal conquest of desires, enjoyments, mastery, confronting the question, who is the boss? Is the object the boss, or am I the boss? Is the pleasure the one running my life, or am I the person running my life? And also, what is the final higher meaning in life? So releasing oneself from bondage, from being a slave of various kinds of attachments in life, and hand over, that's where the Vanaprastha sannyasa ashrams come in. There are others who will take over, run society. It is not that you are neglecting or you are running away from any problems, but there are people who you have handed over. And there you require two things. You have to be detached, and you have to have a witness capability, that means Sakshi Bhava. Your ego and your alter ego, you have stand outside of yourself, and he says that an unexamined life is an unlived life. A person who has not questioned his life or life, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is the right thing. What have I lived? What am I going to live for? These are essential questions. They are disquieting, disturbing. They will wake us up at night. We may sweat sometimes. It is necessary. Only then that life is meaningfully lived. Otherwise, what is the difference between us and the animals? Instinct, they also do all these various activities of food and so on. And the essential capability of the human being is the ability to feel, think, experience, introspect, question, and that is the model of life goals. It is comprehensive, nothing is left out, one can live a full life, but live within dharma. Next. When I come to behavior, we are actually driven. We are driven by three tendencies within the human being. Our intellect, our willpower is not deciding our behavior. Whatever we do since morning, unless you become more and more thoughtful, self-introspective, self-critical, mature individual, you are basically driven by the body. And when you live in a non-American society, the society itself does not allow you to stay in the most primitive stage. But if you go back to the rural areas, if you go back to places with higher unemployment, it is not that people want to be, but the basic characteristic of a human being, if you leave the system unmanaged, it's homeostasis, where it will rest is tamas. Tamas is the original state of human beings. To be laid back, lazy, sleep late, sleep over the weekend, eat more than we need, eat an extra sweet, put on weight. Obesity is one of the 4 major diseases that WHO worries about in the 21st century. And by 2030,